If you enjoy speaking about the variables and attributes that are surrounding you, then that is ego. Speaking about it itself is not ego. If you start enjoying that, that means there is some stickiness there. For example, I didn't have a car till 2009 or something. I didn't have my own car. 2009 I bought my own car when I was working. And then car became part of my life. And then after that, at that time I didn't notice. I started noticing a little bit later after I started becoming a little mindful. If there is a normal conversation happening, a group of people, some party or some break time, friends are speaking, a group of people are speaking. If the other person starts speaking something, incidentally he'll say, Mike, there was some problem in my car and I had to take it to servicing or something, he says, immediately I must speak about my car. It starts becoming a compulsion. The moment his car he starts speaking about, I must speak about my car for some reason, for some stupid reason. You know, power steering is, oh, this is that is, my car is that, something. It may be even negative sometimes. It doesn't give good mileage at all. It may be negative also. But somehow you want to speak about your car. I started noticing this. The urge that comes, I'm giving the example of car. Okay, it happens everywhere. Everywhere. You find some pleasure speaking about things around you, some specific things, which are petty actually, and you did not even speak about them, but somehow you will enjoy speaking about them as if they are the most significant thing happening in this entire universe. Recently, I was staying in somebody's house, and he was an artist, his fine arts, he paints. The painter, he paints very nicely. He had many Buddha's paintings and all. And I liked it very much. That day evening, I was chatting with one of my friends in Bangalore. She's in Bangalore. I was chatting and I was telling, I went to this house. And I found this, he paints and the paintings are very nice. I just made one statement. Her reply is, you should see my school drawings, they are horrible. Why are you even bringing your school drawing there? I am telling about somebody's painting and your mind goes to paint. Because of painting, you are my painting. Even if it is horrible, you want to speak of it. Meaning you want to stick out. Somehow you want to stick out. This is called ego. This is the nature of the ego. It is not that for the sake of transaction you shouldn't use. For the sake of transaction you will be saying, I am doing this, I am doing that, this is mine, that is yours, okay, fine. But I am talking about that something within you that starts enjoying it and starts becoming a compulsion. For some silly reason you want to speak of it. If you start becoming mindful, you start noticing this. When you are a group of people talking, suppose a dog is sleeping there, you just say, see how nicely the dog is sleeping. Somebody in the group will say, I did not sleep properly today. Who is asking you? Why do you even want to talk about your sleep there? So when your thoughts start revolving around particular identity, then that is ego. It's a problem. It is a problem because, see, suppose you are in a dark room with a torch. You are in a dark room with a torch. What is the nature of the torch? It is to show you things. It is to illuminate and show you certain things. Okay. So if the torch is completely in your control, then you can use it to explore the room. But suppose the torch has become a compulsion, you want to turn it this side, but it will forcefully make you turn this side. You have to compulsorily keep seeing that only. Then is that not a problem? Can you use that torch to explore anything? Currently, mentally, if that pattern runs, Meaning, no matter what word you hear, this is a corrupt Google search. No matter what term you hear, you have to somehow talk about yourself there. It has to be associated with what you have done with that. Even if it is absolutely unrelated, for example, that painting, she is not a painter. If she was a painter, okay, fine, you talk about her. She is not even a painter. You should see my high school drawings. Why should I say if it is horrible? So this is one very subtle thing, and for you to realize this is what happens mostly in parties. This is what happens. What happens is, see, you are in a group and somebody is talking something. They are talking about their family, their children. They are talking about their children. So what happens is, in your awareness field, the information, their family, their children are being projected now. But you don't like that. You want your torch to be projecting your children, your family only. So immediately you will start speaking about your children. Especially mothers will start doing that. You know, Vivekananda had given out a statement, more popular statement. Each soul is potentially divine. Like that, mothers will say, my son is so intelligent, but he doesn't study. Every child is potentially intelligent. For mothers. Every mother tells that, doesn't it? Every mother tells. The only problem is he doesn't open the book at all. It's old news, don't tell all this. Do this experiment. If you go to a relative's house and they start speaking about their children, simply go on listening. Ask yourself, why do I have to speak about my child here? Why do I have to advertise? Nothing, just keep quiet, go on listening. If you do that, it is spiritual practice. You are subduing that unnecessary ego. What?
It's true.
If you
It's actually we should not.
Yeah, it is true. Huh?
नहीं बात करते वो ज़्यादा egoistic लगता है, कोई ये तो बोल ही नहीं रहा, हम क्या फालतू हैं?
That means
That is what I am talking. That is what I am saying. If they are talking of the greatness of their children, if you don't speak, that does not mean your children are not great. Who told that?
नहीं, वो ये लगेगा कि बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, किसी भी topic.
I am not asking you not to speak at all.
But it means we unnecessarily you should not.
Align your thoughts.
When you are asked to speak.
If you think of what I said now, you will understand. I am just telling you, you should not enjoy speaking, unnecessarily speaking about those things which are around you.
Yes, correct.
I am speaking about the inner attitude which you adopt. Okay. If you want to speak, you speak. Fine. But it should not. You should not start cherishing it as if it is something very precious. It is not, because all the variables around you that you are highlighting, my qualities, my sleep, my food habits, are they constants?
No.
They keep changing over the years. Why do you want to keep hold on to a particular variable and make it dear to you? It's a variable. It will change. It's not a constant. It is not your identity. If you like a particular vegetable now, and if you start speaking about that as if it is some great thing, I like that, I want that vegetable. If that is not there, I won't have lunch. You speak of it as if it is something great. But the fact is, after 10 years, your likes and dislikes may completely change. So why do you want to hold on to it? It's a very silly thing. You are becoming rigid in the process of doing that. If you start relishing the attributes around you now, that means you are becoming rigid. The flexibility is going away. You are resisting flexibility, you are resisting change. See, everybody accepts this, that they want to evolve. If you ask anybody, do you want to evolve? They will say, yeah. And if you ask the same question in a different way, do you want to change? No. How can you evolve without changing? Everything, every silly bit around you is a variable. Identify that. Your face itself is a variable. It is changing every day. Slowly, but it is changing. Why are you holding on to a particular thing as if, why do you want to cherish it? Don't cherish it. Notice it and acknowledge it. Okay, fine. And after that, forget it. Don't promote it and try to stick it out like a sore thumb. Whatever sticks out is a sore thumb. It's not healthy. So I am not speaking about good attributes or bad attributes. I am speaking of both neutrally now. That is what I was telling yesterday. Adhyatma means going beyond both. Whether it's a white dinosaur or a black dinosaur, dinosaur is a dinosaur. So the examples which I am giving, when you hear a topic that you want to say something, it is not necessarily positive sometimes. You will start talking of your negative things as if they are very great. So I am talking of that inner attitude which you adopt. That's all. I am talking about your personal practice. If you understand this and practice, you will not ask, I don't have time for practice. This itself is practice. Every day you can do this. You will get hundreds of opportunities. Won't you?
Yes.
You will get hundreds of opportunities because all the people around you are like that only. So you will have to start reducing that quotient in you. You will start realizing the freedom. Now it may look very, very torturous. That urge is so much that it has to come out. If you start restraining it to some extent, it's not restraining, controlling. Become mindful of that and acknowledge that this shouldn't be done. Why should I do it? Acknowledge it. Jnana, the awareness part is important, not the restraining part. If the awareness increases, the mindfulness increases, automatically you will hold back. You won't speak.